You know, depression is a interesting topic because it's confusing as to what causes depression. We know that it runs in families, that it's not a genetic given that hereditarily offspring are going to be depressed if parents are depressed. It doesn't work that way. It's not like a dominant trait that's carried that way, but it runs in families, which means it's in the genes somewhere, probably recessive genes floating around that have the potential to make people depressed, more so than the general population. Depression runs in families, so people can be set up to be depressed. And then, of course, there's environmental variables that lead people to be depressed. And oftentimes, what happens to us in our childhood, in our early years, our early experiences, maybe pre-verbal experiences as well, if we get our sense of self is damaged because of a dysfunctional, parental environment, and we have low self-esteem, a lot of fear, anxiety, we get double messages, we get called names, we get dismissed, we feel neglected, abandoned. We create all sorts of psychological, roadblocks to happiness in our head, and we grow up being depressed and having depressed episodes, etc. So it's nature and nurture can impact on the chemicals in our brain and the mood states that we have. So which comes first, chemical imbalance or your mind making you depressed? But it's hard to say. Could be a little bit of both. Who knows what? It doesn't matter. What matters is here you are now. Let's say you're an adult and you're depressed. Okay, so well, why am I depressed? Well, it could be the chemistry of genetics. So what can I do about that? Nothing right now. It is what it is. You know, if genetically you were sent into the world with one hand tied behind your back, so be it. You got to deal with it. Helen Keller dealt with it. You got to deal with it. So if it's genetics, tough luck. That's what it is. Go forward despite that, and make the most of life despite that. If it's environmental and your parents really messed you up because they were messed up because there's no rule book for good parenting, again, what can you do? What's done is done. Water under the bridge. You can hate them and blame them and feel victimized by them and feel that you can't have a full life because of them, but that's only going to perpetuate your sense of victimhood and your sense of powerlessness. And so again, you have to tell yourself that even if your parents sent you into the world, into the adult world with one hand tied behind your back, you have choices now. You have choices today. So if you have a genetic imbalance, if you have an environmental imbalance from your childhood, being bullied perhaps as well from peers and other people, as an adult, you still have a choice. Yes, that's a problem. It's a problem if you've got these two sort of built-in issues, but you have a choice in your mind to choose to do something about it. If your life has limitations, if your life has deficits, if your life has lacks, if you don't have the kind of relationship you want, or the happiness that you want, or the money that you want, or the career that you want, the job that you want, and you're depressed about it, okay, I get that. But what are you going to do about it? If you rely on medication, not going to cut it, not enough. Therapy can definitely help, but ultimately, therapy can definitely help. Medication often is a band-aid. Therapy is often the solution, the healing. But ultimately, it comes down to you taking action. Taking action. You don't want to be depressed about the fact that you feel your life's in a rut, then do something. Do anything. If you want a relationship, then as horrendous as online dating can be, take a stab at it. Be careful. Go slow, but take a shot. If you hate your job, start building your resume, start looking online, start networking with people, telling them you're thinking of doing something else. Have they got any suggestions? They should keep you in mind. If you don't like your fat belly, go on a diet now, today, not tomorrow, not today, this minute. Okay, do something. Don't eat as much. Right? Don't get the fries and the Coke. Whatever. Make better decisions. Exercise. Get out of the house. Get out of the bed. Read, meditate, yoga, whatever. Do things. Be proactive. Then, if you still have a crappy life, at least you'll say to yourself, yeah, but I'm not depressed about that because I'm taking steps to change it. This is not eternity. I'm not going to be this way forever. Eventually, I'm going to be healthier and happier and more successful and like my work and have better sustainable relationships. It's all good. It's all going to happen because I'm being proactive, because I'm taking action, because I manifest my reality, because I am the architect of my destiny, because despite the hand that I have been delivered by my genes and my parents and my peers and my world, I will not be stopped from being happy. I will not be stopped from having a life that can be very satisfying and prosperous. But I have to take action. And it's not good enough for me to say, I can't do it, I'm too tired and depressed. You can say that if you want, and I would sympathize with that. But it's not going to help you. You got to fight the depression. If you're lonely, and you want to meet people, you want to have friends, let alone a one-to-one relationship, and you're stuck not knowing how to meet people. They've got meetup.com, where you can meet people with common interests, so that you can enjoy yourself taking hikes or having a book club meeting, or you just have fun. You get out of the house, you socialize, but you actually might meet somebody who could become a friend, or even more. You got to take action. You got to brainstorm. You got to network. You got to get out of the house. You got to get out of your bed. You got to get up in the morning and take a shower. You got to get up in the morning and think, how can I make this a great day? What am I not doing that I could be doing that could make my life better? What baby step can I take today to make my life better? Right? How can I be healthier? Can I walk 20 minutes today? And then have my sandwich for 10 minutes, and that's my lunch break, but I did something really good for myself. And my sandwich wasn't a bunch of crap, but it was actually something healthy and nutritious. These little baby steps everywhere, in every way. Everything that you do. Do you have hobbies? Do you have interests? Do you have aspirations to invent something or write something or do something? But there's not enough time. Well, there's not enough time if you're binge watching, Game of Thrones season 1 through 27. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You need balance. You need moderation. Yeah, it's fun to get lost in video games and movies and TV shows and this and that. But if you want your life to change, it's like the squirrels gathering up the nuts in the summer, so they'll have them in the winter, while the other squirrels are partying like maniacs, and then they got nothing. Moderation, delayed gratification, pay attention. You can have a lot of fun, but you have to take action. If you're not happy with your life, take action. And this can lift your depression to some degree by virtue of the fact that you are taking action, that you've decided you're not going to be a victim, that you've decided the situation isn't helpless and hopeless, because you've decided that in every day and in every way, you're going to do something that's going to bring you closer to a better life, physically, emotionally, materially, spiritually.